What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here, and welcome to our daily show where we discuss the fourth stimulus check update, the two new upcoming infrastructure and stimulus packages, as well as what is going on in the world today. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is coming under criticism over her refusal to drop the mask mandate for fully vaccinated people, which goes against the CDC guidance. The CDC has new guidance that says if you are fully vaccinated with 2 shots from Pfizer or Moderna or 1 shot from Johnson & Johnson, that you do not need to wear a mask indoors or outdoors. However, Nancy Pelosi is going to be giving fines to people in the U.S. House of Representatives, a $500 fine for the first offense of not wearing a mask and a $1,000 fine for the second offense and every offense thereafter. I don't think it applies to when they're giving interviews because I see multiple people from the Democrats and the Republican sides, and they take their mask off when they give interviews. So I think that that's maybe that's allowed. But we have a lot of Republicans criticizing that they got fully vaccinated and yet they're still not allowed to remove their mask, even though the CDC guidance says that they are. Nancy was asked if the mask mandate would be relaxed, and she responded with no. Are they all vaccinated? In a letter this Friday, 34 Republican lawmakers urged Nancy Pelosi to drop the House's pandemic restrictions. They said in response, it's all about control. Republican House Minority Whip Steve Scalise says she wants to just control the House. Now, the CDC has really come under a lot of criticism since they've announced this because just the week before, they said that masks needed to continue to be worn. And just a few days later, they basically reversed their entire decision and said, well, now if anybody that's fully vaccinated can not have to wear a mask indoors or outdoors. And really, it's caused a lot of confusion and a lot of controversy. Number one is that private businesses, which the House of Representatives really isn't, it's a government organization. Alas, private businesses, at least, are allowed to still require masks when you enter their property. But the CDC guidance says if you're fully vaccinated, you won't have to wear a mask indoors or outdoors. But the question is, how do you know who's fully vaccinated? If we're going by what the CDC says, are you allowed to ask for identification to see if people have been fully vaccinated? Which a lot of people are against. What they call these vaccine passports or vaccine identification is really a very controversial issue right now because it's somewhat of a medical record. And cruise lines are actually threatening to pull out of Florida right now, which would actually cost the state of Florida billions and billions of dollars because Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has outlawed vaccine passports. He literally signed an executive order. I can't say presidential executive order, but a statewide executive order banning vaccine passports or vaccine identification. And cruises at this point, they haven't opened up yet really in the United States, but they want to require a vaccine to get on a cruise ship. And they're saying that they're going to pull out of Florida and take all their ships out of Florida, at least Carnival is, if they're not allowed to require a vaccination and show an ID to get on a cruise ship. It's going to be a very interesting decision, and it's going to kind of be a battle to see what happens in our country on are we supposed to prove people have been vaccinated? And we already know that children are required multiple vaccinations to go to school, as you can see here on this list. It's slightly different per state, but most states require polio, diphtheria, tetanus shots, measles, mumps, rubella, the MMR, hepatitis, and possibly the chickenpox shot. They already require these vaccinations and these papers when you start school for school children. And this has been in effect for a long time. And the real question is will the COVID-19 vaccine be added onto this for the upcoming school year, even though it's not really approved yet for younger children? Or will it be required in the future, possibly for the next school year? Let me know your thoughts on this. This is definitely a big battle of what our country is going through, as if we didn't have enough to worry about with the actual virus and the economic crisis, and now possibly inflation creeping up. The recent gas pipeline hack has sent gas prices soaring across the entire East Coast and West Coast, and really even the rest of the country as well, as they're still struggling to get some states' gas pumps online. And it shows just how quickly a shortage in the market can send prices higher, aka temporary inflation. The Fed is saying that a lot of the inflation we're seeing right now in housing prices, home prices, as well as lumber and wood prices, as well as even food prices that are up, and also the gas prices, that it's a temporary thing, and it's really due to shortage of supplies and the basic supply chain trying to get back to 100% working order of the pandemic, and also companies really struggling with getting people to go back to work amid a lot of people don't want to go back to work if it's really low paying wages. We're seeing that right now across the country where, yeah, there's about 8 million jobs available right now, but a lot of them are minimum wage jobs that pay $7.25 an hour or $8 an hour. A lot of them are also part-time jobs that are like 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week, and isn't enough for people to put food on the table. So, I mean, I understand why would you go to a job like that if it's literally not even going to pay your bills? And it seems like the well-paying jobs and the full-time well-paying jobs are much harder to find in this kind of job market, and that's why we're seeing companies like Chipotle, Amazon, and Walmart, and even McDonald's in some areas raise their minimum wage to $15 an hour or even more because they literally can't get people to work for less than that, at least in some areas. Now, Democrats are actually using this inflation for the good if you're in favor of stimulus and stimulus checks. Democrats are saying because this inflation is hurting people and it's possibly a temporary inflation, that now is the time to continue to pass extra money and extra support for the people that are possibly struggling with this inflation issue right now, gas prices being higher, food prices being higher. And we also seen an absolute terrible jobs report in April where over 1 million new jobs were supposed to be created for the entire country, and yet only 266,000 jobs were created, so about 75% less than what was supposed to happen. We still get unemployment claims, new people filing for unemployment, of around 500,000 or more people every single week, yet we only created 266,000 jobs last month alone. And the April retail sales report came out and it was absolutely terrible. It was flat, even with stimulus money flowing at the beginning and the middle of the month of April. So basically, Democrats are saying if it weren't for that stimulus money, the retail sales would actually be down and we'd actually be negative, which means we would not even be improving or coming slightly out of the recession. And this recession is probably going to take us years to come out of. Even if they got the virus under control tomorrow and the virus just was completely gone, the economic recession is likely to take a while. And that's why we have Democrats pushing for multiple sets of monthly stimulus checks. Democrats are pushing for a monthly stimulus check from the House of Representatives, which is a $2,000 one-time stimulus check, then followed by $1,000 monthly recurring payments that would go until the pandemic is over. This is a bill that has been introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives. We also have another bill that has been introduced in the Senate by Senators Ed Markey and Elizabeth Warren that is for $2,000 monthly stimulus checks that would go until the pandemic is over. In addition to this, the Democrats have already passed the monthly stimulus checks, which are called the child tax credits. This is already passed for 1 year, this year of 2021, and is going to start in July with monthly payments of $300 per child for children under the age of 6 and $250 per month for children ages 6 through 17, or a total of $3,600 and $3,000 for children under the age of 6. The Democrats want to continue on these monthly payments for children. This is separate from the fourth stimulus check proposal. Those two bills is basically for the fourth stimulus check. If you got the third stimulus check, you'll likely qualify for the fourth stimulus check. We don't know the details on the income thresholds or anything like that, but it's likely to be the same, or maybe they would lower the income threshold just a little bit if they were the monthly stimulus checks or something like that. But the Democrats completely passed the third stimulus check package on their own. They're probably going to pass the American Families Plan, which is the next stimulus package, on their own as well. So the Democrats can really put anything they want in there, including the monthly stimulus checks on the fourth stimulus check, or even a single stimulus check of a fourth stimulus check if they have to negotiate it down. They really only need to negotiate amongst themselves, amongst the Democrats, because it's almost 99% probable that the Democrats will have to pass this through the reconciliation package. Okay. That means that Republicans don't support it. Republicans didn't support the third stimulus check package. They just don't support it, right? But the Democrats passed it anyways without any Republican votes. It's likely what they're going to do for the next stimulus package as well. They're going to pass it and put anything they want in there as long as they can get the votes among their own party. Remember, they're going to need like 99.5% of Democrats in the House of Representatives to go along with it, and 100% of Democrats in the Senate to go along with it. But don't be too alarmed, because that's what happened with the third stimulus check package. When all was said and done and all the negotiations were said and done, they got that done and all the Democrats voted in line and they got it passed for the third stimulus check package. The same thing will likely happen for the fourth stimulus check package. Billionaire investor Jeffrey Gundlach, who's pretty famous in the investing world, says the stimulus checks are the opening the door to the universal basic income. And what's interesting about that is the child tax credits are actually a form of universal basic income. The government is going to provide basically child support of $250 to $300 per month per child for almost every child in America. All you need to do is the parents and the child has to have a social security number, and you need to make below the income requirements or the income threshold, which is the same as the third stimulus check package. So about 85% of children or more are going to receive these monthly stimulus checks from the government that was passed from the third stimulus check package. And Democrats want to continue that on for until 2025 or even indefinitely. In this next stimulus package, they want to basically pass an extension of that. You could somewhat consider that universal basic income. It's the government paying children who don't work and don't put into the program or anything like that a universal basic income, money every single month that goes to the parent who claims them as a dependent to help support the child. The White House says that this will bring over 50% of children out of poverty. But what's interesting is that this is happening in, besides the child tax credits, there's universal basic income programs going on all across the United States. There's a program called the Mayors for Guaranteed Income that are testing universal basic incomes across the United States. As you can see here on this screen, these are all the cities in the United States that are already testing universal basic income in the Mayors for Guaranteed Income program. You can see Seattle, San Francisco, Oakland, Denver, San Antonio, Houston, Texas, New Orleans, Miami Gardens, Atlanta, Georgia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, literally dozens, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Newark. I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of cities are already doing a universal basic income, at least at the bare minimum, a test pilot. And we're seeing more and more of these programs. LA County is considering a new program for 1,000 residents to get $1,000 per month in basic income. Hartford, Connecticut is also exploring giving what they call no strings monthly cash payments to single working parents. And we're seeing these programs all across the United States, as you've seen on that map, anywhere from $500 per month up to $2,000 per month. Again, if you are on this map, if your city is on this map, I recommend you go to Google and type in Mayors for Guaranteed Income and then your city, and see if you can apply for these programs. Most of these programs are on a small amount of people, I should say, but they're basically testing to see how well it works. And what the testing has already shown is that, as you can see here, cash payments to some of the homeless population in Denver have proven to help with stable housing and employment, as well as in California, Massachusetts, and British Columbia. Now, most of these programs are between $500 and $1,000 per month. Some of them go as high as $2,000 per month, and is really a movement that's kind of catching on. For most of the qualifications, you basically have to have low income. You don't need to necessarily be homeless, but each city is different. And remember, we're already seeing this happen with the child tax credits of $250 to $300 per month. And Democrats also want $1,000 to $2,000 per month for the fourth stimulus check, as well as these mayors across the country, which are really outside of Congress. They're doing this on their own. And basically, these programs aren't going to make anybody rich, but they're basically a minimum guaranteed income so that you're not living a life of poverty. You have enough money maybe for your rent or for some food or something along those lines. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you think the government should provide some type of minimum amount of income to poor people or people with low incomes to basically help them survive? Do you think that should be something that should happen even more than it's happening now? And do you think this movement will continue to grow? I'll keep you up to date with this movement as well as the fourth stimulus check, the Social Security raises and Medicare raises that they want to include in this next stimulus package, as well as a student loan debt forgiveness and free college that the Democrats want to include in this next package, and 2 years of free preschool as well. Also, there's a lot of different things that could be in this next package. There's about 15 different stimulus items that they're proposing for the American Families Plan. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss out on new updates. It's completely free to subscribe. After subscribing, click the bell icon that appears to all notifications to get reminder notifications when we go live, which is 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss any episodes because we cover different stimulus programs in different videos, as well as what is going on in our country today. You can click this top video here to watch my newest stimulus check video next. And this video teaches you how to start your own business selling products on the Amazon FBA program. I have dozens of students that have already replaced their 9-to-5 income, and I teach them how to do that. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I will see you in the next video.